Have you ever looked at someone else's life? Their achievements, their pace, their polished results, and felt a quiet ache in your chest? Like you're falling behind, like your own work doesn't measure up. This is a story about that feeling. It's about two sculptors, a block of marble, and the dangerous habit of comparison that almost cost one of them everything. This isn't a fable. It's inspired by real artists, real struggles, and a lesson that took years to learn. So, get comfortable. Let's begin in a small coastal town in a sunlit studio that smelled of salt and stone. Our main character is Leo. For as long as he could remember, Leo dreamed of creating beauty from stone. He saved for years, apprenticed, and finally rented space in a shared studio. It was a dream come true. And then, on his first day, he met Matteo. Matteo was everything Leo felt he wasn't: confident, charismatic, with hands that seemed to converse with the marble. Where Leo hesitated, Matteo struck. Where Leo saw a complex puzzle, Matteo saw the finished form waiting to be freed. The studio owner gave them a challenge. Each would get an identical, beautiful block of Carrara marble. They had 1 year, the only task to create their masterpiece. Leo was thrilled. This was his chance. But within a week, the poison seeped in. He would arrive early, full of ideas, only to see Matteo already there, his chisel singing, a cascade of stone shavings already on the floor. Leo would look at his own pristine block, his detailed drawings, and suddenly they felt childish.
Here's where the story becomes real. This wasn't just about art. It was about Leo's inner voice. He started to measure his day 1 against Matteo's day 20. He saw the elegant curve Matteo had carved, a leg taking shape, and he'd rush to his own stone, trying to force a similar line, even though his own design called for something different. He began copying Matteo's technique, not because it was better, but because it looked more advanced. He became obsessed with Matteo's pace. Matteo's pile of discarded stone grew fast and dramatic. Leo's was small, meticulous. Leo started to equate speed with talent and bold moves with genius. His own careful, thoughtful process began to feel like a weakness. At night, he'd lie awake, imagining Matteo's finished sculpture, perfect, celebrated. He saw his own incomplete and flawed. The joy was gone. The studio became a place of anxiety. His chisel felt heavy in his hand. He started making mistakes, deep gashes in the stone that weren't part of his plan. Panic set in. He was falling behind. He was less than.
6 months in, disaster struck. In a frantic attempt to match the scale of Matteo's emerging figure, Leo made an aggressive cut. A terrible cracking sound echoed in the studio. A large, unintended chunk broke away from a crucial part of his sculpture's form. It was ruined, or so he thought. His dream shattered along with the stone. Devastated, he threw a cloth over his work. He told the studio owner he was quitting. He couldn't bear to see Matteo's success, to be a witness to his own failure. He spent days walking the cliffs, feeling utterly lost. He had compared himself into a corner, and the only way out seemed to be to abandon his craft entirely.
On one of those walks, he met an old fisherman, mending a net with impossibly gnarled and patient hands. The man looked up, saw Leo's despair, and simply said, You look like a man fighting a war with the tide." Something broke open in Leo. He found himself telling the old man everything about Matteo, the stone, the crack, the crushing weight of not being as good. The fisherman listened, his hands never stopping their rhythmic work. After a long silence, he said, "I have been mending nets for 50 years. My brother was a fisherman too. He could mend twice as fast as me. For decades, I hated watching his hands fly. I felt slow, until the day a storm hit." He paused. His net, mended fast, tore open under the pressure. Mine, mended slow, held. The sea didn't ask us to be the same. It asked us to be strong in our own way. You are not carving his stone. You are not living his year. You are answering the call of your stone. The crack is not the end of your story. It is part of its shape. Those words, "You are not living his year," struck Leo like a lightning bolt. He had been living Matteo's year, trying to climb Matteo's mountain, while his own path lay forgotten. He walked back to the studio, heart pounding. He pulled the cloth off his damaged stone. He looked at the crack, not as a mistake, but as a new feature. He looked at Matteo's work, now a magnificent athletic torso, and for the first time he felt no envy. He felt respect. And then he turned back to his own stone. He stopped comparing. He embraced his own pace, slow, deliberate. He incorporated the crack into his design, making it a fault line in a landscape, a symbol of struggle. His vision was different, not a perfect human form, but a figure emerging from raw, imperfect stone, shaped by both intention and accident. The final months were not easy, but they were his. He was no longer in a race. He was in a conversation with his material, his vision, his own spirit. The day of the showing arrived. Matteo's sculpture was breathtaking, a figure of flawless grace and power. It received deserved applause. Then Leo unveiled his. A powerful, poignant form, one side polished and smooth, the other rough and broken, with that central crack transformed into a defining vein of character. The room fell silent, then erupted in applause. It was different, but it was profoundly moving. It told a story not of perfection, but of transformation. Afterward, Matteo came over. He looked at Leo's work for a long time and said, "I always admired your patience. I was so busy rushing, I never could have made something with this much truth." 2 sculptors, 2 blocks of stone, 2 entirely different masterpieces. The poison wasn't in Matteo's talent, it was in Leo's gaze. The moment he stopped comparing his chapter 5 to someone else's chapter 20, the moment he accepted his own pace and his own path, was the moment his true masterpiece could emerge. Your life is your stone. Your time is your year. The cracks, the slow progress, the doubts, they aren't signs you're losing. They are the unique topography of your journey. Someone else's speed says nothing about your direction. Someone else's height says nothing about your roots. Don't compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. Don't compare your beginning to their middle. Your value is not measured against another. It is measured by the courage to keep carving your own shape one true strike at a time.